Hi, welcome to my YouTube channel, Professor R.J. Placone on Communication Excellence. I want to talk a little bit about how to open a presentation and what not to do. So if I were to ask you, how quickly does an audience come to an initial decision as to whether or not they think it's going to be worth their time listening to you? Minutes? Seconds? Well, if you believe some of the current research, it's milliseconds, like this. That's why how you dress, is it appropriate? What kind of confidence you display, are the shoulders back? Do you establish eye contact with the audience and nod at the ground? Those things all enter into that first impression and what the audience is starting to decide about whether or not they're going to listen to you. Also, what's very important is how you begin the presentation. Let's start with some of the things to try to avoid. One is stepping on a greeting. And by that I mean sometimes people will say, "Good morning." And instead of pausing and allow that to register with the audience, allow them to respond if they would like to, they go right, "Good morning, it's a beautiful day." Don't step on greetings, don't step on questions, don't step on punchlines. Pause. That's one of the differentiators between more novice presenters and more skilled presenters. That ability to be comfortable with 3 seconds of silence. Secondly, don't apologize. Don't start with, "Oh, I didn't sleep well last night. My throat's a little sore. I wish I had more time to prepare." All those things create a negative frame for the audience. Already they're starting to think, we're not going to see this person at their best. Maybe it's not even going to be worth listening to. So don't create negative frames. Make sure you don't say anything controversial or anything that would suggest you don't have a good understanding of who this audience is and why they are there, what the occasion demands. All too often, people misread the audience or what the occasion calls for, and they'll say something on the right at the beginning of a presentation, and it's shot to pieces. So be very cautious of how you address the audience and the occasion early on. Make sure you have a thorough understanding of both. Don't tell random jokes. Some people think, oh, the way you get attention is by joke telling. Not necessarily. And certainly if you're going to use humor, you want to make sure that it's relevant humor. Don't just parrot what others say. Don't just go up and do the same thing that you see everyone else doing. Blah blah blah. You just become one in a crowd. You're trying to set yourself apart right from the get-go. Let me give you a quick story. Um, so when I did my master's thesis in Bloomington, Indiana, I was one of a series of presenters to faculty audience, and we had to say, hey, this is what our master's thesis is on. I was maybe the last presenter or next to the last. Everyone got up there and did the same introduction, who they were, the title of their presentation. I saw everybody's eyes glaze over. So I thought, I have to do something different if I'm going to stand out. So I can still remember exactly what I said. I said, well, the title of my master's thesis is Carole King and the Rhetoric of Friendship. I paused, then I said, well, it's a rather strange title because my research is on Harry Truman and post-World War II speech making. All of a sudden, I saw people it jolted them. All of a sudden, they kind of sat up. Some gave me a little bit of a smile. And then I was able to go into my presentation. So if you sense, especially if you're later on in a series of presenters, make sure you dare to be different and make sure you try to recapture the audience if you feel like you're potentially losing them or they've phased out already. So what to do in addition to greeting audiences and pausing. Good afternoon. Pause. You want to bring a certain energy. You want to smile where it's appropriate. You want to bring some enthusiasm, some passion that at least conveys, I'm excited to be sharing information with you. I'm excited to have this opportunity to talk with you. Let them know that right from the start. That gets contagious. Passion is contagious and may force them to want to listen to you a little bit more. If you want to use some humor, use relevant storytelling, maybe some self-effacing humor. That can go a long way. You know, when we were willing to joke a bit about ourselves, for me, it's very easy to joke about myself and technology. It more favorably disposes an audience toward you. And what happens is we call it you pass the first brain test. Already people are starting to see you as kind of a just a person that wants to converse, not speak at them, but talk with them, and they're going to start to listen to you. So some self-effacing humor can be fine in the introduction. You need to grab their attention. It's a buyer's market. Communication is a buyer's market. So whether you do it with a brief, relevant story, a statistic that they may find, wow, I didn't expect that to be the case. That is surprising. Something novel. It gets their attention. So a brief example, a brief story, some statistics. Ask a question. Get them engaged, get their mind, bring some certain things to the surface that are in their heads that you can latch onto later in the presentation as that question related to your topic. And frame what's to come. You know, one of our goals as presenters is to tell a story, to share a narrative. And along the way, you need to prepare people for what's coming. There's something to be said for that old saying, tell them what you're going to tell them, tell them what you tell them, and tell them what you told them in the conclusion of a presentation. We'll do another one soon on how to conclude presentations, but I hope these tips that I'm sharing with you today, I hope you follow them because they do work and it can make a big difference because audiences are making decisions very quickly as to whether or not they're going to listen to you. Thank you so much. If you like what you're seeing, I hope you subscribe and I hope you share information with your friends. Thank you so much.